Good evening, everyone. It's John and Katie coming live for another episode of Whip Finish Wednesday on, you guessed it, Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're not live with us, you should be. Katie and I love seeing you guys hop on and ask questions, tell jokes, and tell stories because not only do we have a fun time tying with you all, we learn a lot from you guys as well. So, Katie and I have got a fun night planned of tying a small, teeny tiny little soft tackle that I had some luck with this weekend. And Katie's going to show some pictures in a little while as well from the flies that you tied last week. And we also have a promo to announce to talk about for the next couple weeks with Jay Stalker on beads. So both of those will be where all that is going to be kind of keep us busy and on our toes. And I saw Chris and Mike chatting a little bit. Looks like Mike is going to be headed up to Montana in a little while. That sounds like a blast. But before we get any deeper in this, what's up, Ed and Barry and Ken? For those of you that are looking at comments, Ed is the first comment that I can see. So if you said something before Ed, say it again. So good day, Ken. Let's go live on the old Insta Twitter here so we can tell them to come over to YouTube. Hey, Mike. So before we get too deep into the fly, let me show the basic materials we're gonna use. Now, first of all, we tied the blue quills last week. This past weekend, actually Thursday, John Christopher and I went fishing like I said we're going to, because the previous week I saw a bunch of blue quills popping off. Saw a bunch of mayflies rising, or a bunch of mayflies hatching. Trout were rising to them. Threw a bunch of different parachutes, clink hammers, just threw all sorts of dries. And I'm sure I'm the only one this has ever happened to, but they just were not. I swear, I think I had the right size. I had the right everything. They weren't touching it. But I had this little soft tackle that after a little while, I put about 18 inches behind just as a dropper. Sometimes it'd be in the film. Sometimes it'd go down a little bit. And I caught a bunch of fish on this little soft tackle. What's up, Chris and Dan from Denver catching us live. Mike, it's embarrassing. I go to sleep thinking about wrapping soft tackle sometimes. Katie will be like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, wrapping a partridge soft tackle makes me relaxed just thinking about wrapping around. What's up, Chris? So this was, like I said, it's pretty small. You don't have to worry about it dragging a dry fly down. I had it behind a size 18 parachute, so it did just fine, but that's what I caught the fish on. So I was talking with a few people last week, and they're like, "What are you going to tie next week?" I said, "I don't know, but hopefully I'm going to tie whatever works this weekend because I want to have more of them to tie." So that's what we're going to do. What's up, Truman? So it looks like you and Chris got out on the water this weekend too, and that is awesome. Katie has a few pictures in a little while that she's going to share about you guys getting out on the water. And if you notice, Chasing Feathers, Mark is not live with us, not chatting, because he is in the Smokies and he just now lost power. But his son, I believe his name is Ridge, he's 12 years old. He sent us some pictures of him catching fish today, so that's awesome. All right, so Katie, if you'll switch this over to the side view, I'll show the materials we're going to use. I'm going to use the Semperfli Classic Wax thread and pale olive. That's the only regular thread I'm going to use. For the ribbing, I'm using 0.1 millimeter black tying wire. If you want to, you could use black thread or a dark color, just a contrasting color thread. That'd be fine too. For the thorax, I'm going to use the scud dubbing. I've got this blue-brown peacock. I've also used eye stub, just something a little sparkly, something that'll pick out a little bit. But that's just going to be a little ball. And the hook, I'm using the Arex Freshwater. There we go. Arex Freshwater 531 in size 20. So we're going small. What's up, Chewy Fish? So we're going small on this. So that's other than the feather, that's it. So thread, wire, some sort of dubbing for the thorax of the ball. Oh, and I'm also going to use, I don't remember what this is. It could be Parapo or poly yarn. It could be sparkle merger yarn. It could be, I'm just using, because I'm using so little amount of it. It could be, oh, what's the one? Trigger point fibers, all sorts of things. But this is something that I did based on one of Matt Grobert's patterns. He it was a soft tackle, and he just put like a clump of it on top of the hook. And I do this almost like spinner wings, really sparse. And let's switch over to the hook. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So you can see the little Antron or Zelon right here on either side. So kind of like spinner wings, just to give it that little bit of sparkle, because this is going to be in the film, and I've got them on the top of the hook shank. So they're not, see how they're not on the bottom. They're like two little wings. And then you got your soft tackle. I use the same off the same bird for the tail and the soft tackle. And that's about it. Good evening, Timothy. Where's dude? It was 60 this morning. It's gonna be 35 tonight here. It's supposed to snow here. It's crazy. I think it was 80 yesterday. What's up, Todd? Nice to top of the evening to you over in Kentucky, I believe. So nice to see you hopping on. Nan is listening while at work. So hello, Nan. Everyone, you got 35 people saying hey to you all at the same time, Nan. Thank you for listening while you work. Right, Katie? All right, so now let's talk soft tackle. The ones that I posted today, I used on one of them is this Bantam hen, and this is really, tying the fly. It's not really that difficult. The types of soft tackle is what I want to talk about. So this is a Bantam hen. If you can find them, they're relatively inexpensive, but as you can see, they're small. They don't come in many colors. I believe there might be a grizzly, but for the most part, this dun is all you're going to get. They are pretty small feathers, but across the board, like this is one bird here. Okay, here's a quail, same kind of thing. You've got the head here, wings, back. This is where technically the saddle would be, is right here. I'm showing you right here. Here's another different breed of quail here. And we'll talk about the different kinds. Here is a more Brahma hen, more available, but same kind of thing. You got the head is up here, down this part is called the cape, and then you got the saddle here. Sometimes they're two separate pieces. What's up, Catherine? And thank you, Nan, for that. What's up, Steve? Giving the big wave. So I want to say all the time, and I might be wrong, but pretty much all the time, the small feathers are up here, and as you go down, they get bigger. So looking at this Bantam hen cape, you kind of fold it up. You see how you got the feathers there? That's going to be one size, and as you go down, they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So sometimes, depending on what size you tie the most of, you'll be out of these feathers, and then you have to find other uses for the rest of the feathers. But I digress. Another bird that I might try to use tonight is the starling. This is another very inexpensive bird, and they're readily available basically everywhere. But same thing, you got your cape. They're going to be smaller up here, and then bigger as you go down. And you can have other uses for the primary colors. This Brahma ken. This one's white dye March brown. Let's just have. This is one that was out of the package that I grabbed just for show and tell. Nothing too fancy. But if you get a chance to pick, you've got the Brahma hen, and then you have regular red label whiting hen, or you have I didn't pull another one of these out, but the Hebert Minor hen. Typically, so what's up, Greg and David? Typically, when you're looking at these two, and we'll throw the Brahma in with them, and the 4B. The Brahma and the 4B are going to be similar in texture. The whiting, I said Brahma, the whiting and the Hebert minor. So they're going to be similar in texture. And that is the barbs are a bit stiffer on these hens versus the Brahma and the 4B. So if you start looking at these are great. They're wonderful. These feathers are going to be, the small feathers a bit longer, so you might get a couple flies out of each feather with the standard whiting hens. But the fibers are a little bit stiffer. What's up, Josh? Can be showing Charlie on National Television. Mountain Secret. Well, it's not a mountain secret, unfortunately. They sell them. This one was a nature spirit starling. But yeah, they're, and I tied a color hammer with this and use a marker with the starling a while back. That's the mountain secret. So we've gone over the whitings, we've gone over that, we've gone over this. So, and if there's something that you'd like to see me use, or if you got questions and want to see an up close and personal about any of these any of the birds, let me know. There might be something else I've got over there. Only had so much room. There is other stuff I've got, but I only had so much room, and kind of starts getting redundant. Small up top, they go down. But the grouse, let's see. Yep. Oh, you had to ask for that. Let's see. Here is a grouse. This is a rough grouse from Craig Matthews right here. So thank you, Chris. So here's a rough grouse. Does not have the tail on it. This might be the red phase grouse, but so you've got your head part right here, cape, and your smaller feathers are here. And we can try to use one of these when we the chickaboo is really nice to use for other patterns. I like that too, Steve. We can try to do one with this one for sure. I think that's the only, because that is a pheasant there, and that will work too, but I don't want to sit around and dig too much. Here's one that Katie probably shouldn't look at too much because it still has salt and it's nice and gooey and everything.
Let's just leave that one in there, please.
Katie wants to leave that one in there. Partridge. Yes, Joe. I've got a partridge that I was going to show. I've done partridge a bunch. That's why I didn't have that one sitting totally out. Here is a dyed one. Here's one that I just picked up. Here's one I was going to show. All right. So neat partridge here. This one's really good because it shows the actual beak itself. And here's your Hungarian partridge. And this one is bleached. So it looks a slightly different color than this close to the head. Most of the time they start about this size, and you're just not going to tie a size 20 with partridge unless you do some different cheats and you shrink them down, which you definitely can do. But these are just absolutely gorgeous. Nice and gooey, Chris. Yeah, you can call me later and I'll tell you more. Anyway, so this one, as you can tell, that they're nice little feathers right up the top. So depending on the quality, and that's why when you're looking, especially at partridge, and you buy different grades, remember, like when you're looking at it, this part here is where you're going to use most of the time. This part right here. So when you're buying them and you pay extra money for it, it's usually because they've got a long neck or because the head hasn't been shot off. So so that's going to be lovely. What you're paying for. Thank you, Katie. And my chat's just turned off, so until I get it turned back on, will you tell me if someone asked a question, Katie? 454. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so with that said, and I've got borax all over my tying thing now, and that's fine. We'll start tying our first one real quick, and then we'll switch it over. But before I get to
Yeah, we
tying,
should at least talk about a couple things before
Yep.
you get to tying.
before I get to tying, I'm going to start putting this size 20 hook in the vise. But Jay Stalker just announced a new special, a new sale. And Katie, you want to talk about that for a second?
Sure.
Lead us off with that.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that.
Perfecto.
Let's see. Here it is. So, if you would like to get some beads or eyes this month, it is your lucky month at J Stalker. You simply go to the website that I just posted, and please know that everything in their beads and eyes collection will be 20% off this month. So that's awesome. Also,
here's the big thing.
More. But wait, there's more. We have a very special promo code that we're just going to put on Whip Finish Wednesday tonight. So write this down. If you use the promo code ProBeads0424, in addition to the 20% off, you'll get an extra 10% off on beads and eyes at J Stalker in the month of April.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, that's up to 30% off, like slotted tungsten beads. Here's the pack that I ordered because we're going to be tying a bunch of leeches and flies for Alaska. So I needed to get some dumbbell eyes. And so I've ordered half a dozen or so packs of dumbbell eyes. But if you'll use the Pro Beads 0424 on top of that, so they normally are 20% off or up to 20% off. They'll give you another 10%. So that's 30% off beads. Pretty good deal to stock up on, unless you're Al, who, when he was at the Atlanta Fly Fishing Show, bought like 5,000 beads. He might be set on regular slotted beads, but that also includes dumbbells and bead chain eyes, just about everything. So check that out, and we will keep on flashing that up. That will code the ProBeads 0424. Good evening, Michael, over on Instagram. Come over and check us out. If you're on YouTube, come check us out on not YouTube. Sorry, YouTube guys, you'll stay as you were. If you're on Instagram, come check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to see a lot better. And I'm actually watching the comments there. So thanks, Matt. Sorry. So that'll give you 30% off the beads at Chase Soccer. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, you got it.
You want me to start tying, or do you want?
Nope.
Nope.
Before you start tying,
okay.
I'd like to share some pictures of some blue quills.
Great.
Last week, we have a bunch of really great pics that I wanted to show you guys, starting with Thursday's hopper.
Good job, Greg. Greg's on here.
Continuing
and
on.
That's an Australian bug. We got a couple Australian bugs.
Steve Yates, magpie fly tying.
Beautiful work.
Ken from Down Under, trio. And Josh Riston whipped that up really quickly last week.
Yeah, he had that whipped up before we got off of our thing. Yep.
Bull X72's, what do you call those on Reels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Bugs and Ryan 999.
Ryan just posted that one, so that one was real. I haven't even seen that one yet, so that's beautiful.
And then I just wanted to show a picture of Ridge.
Congrats, so hopefully Mark is
Smokies.
Hopefully he's getting power back.
Hope you're getting power back, Mark. If you are, thanks for sharing a picture of Ridge fishing at the special area in the park for kids in the Smokies. Pretty awesome. And then we also had a really cool pic from Costa Norte Pescador.
I think he's in Colombia, I believe. And I apologize if I'm wrong, but I think he's in Colombia.
And this was an ant that we tied
this is
on
Gary
the show
Barnes.
Back in 2022.
Yeah. So he tied along with us, and it's Gary Barnes's ant.
Yeah, so ants still catching fish since 2022.
That's right. He had a hard day fishing, tied that thing on, then slayed So that was awesome. What's up, West Hikes of Smokies?
So that's that. So let's get to time.
All right. So great pictures this week. Oh, there he is. Costa. Yes, Colombia.
Love
Awesome.
it.
That is so cool. So that's 2 sets of fish pictures we got that you all sent. And Mark's son caught 6 today. And it was all on the clink hammer that we tied a few weeks ago. So good job to him. But we love seeing fish pictures. So let's get to time. So we've gone over all the ingredients. Be thinking about what bird you want me to use as a soft tackle, but we'll go ahead and start. We got the size 20 Ahrex freshwater 531 in the vise. Let's put my my dirty glasses on, and maybe clean them up so I can actually see. 100%. See you later, Ken. Have a wonderful day at work. All right. That didn't help too much. So I tried to take your all's advice and wear another black shirt today. Hopefully it turns out just fine. So I'm going to start the thread right here because I have just about enough room in front of my thread to wrap my head and like put a little soft tackle and have a head there. So I'm going to pretty much keep that completely bare until I go to wrap soft tackle. So that's kind of my marker. And that's a thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. I know, Steve. Good grief. So that's kind of my trick of the night is, and you've heard me say this before, but where you start your thread is important. I'm going to leave this little bit of a blank hook shank here until I'm almost done with the fly, and that'll make sure I'm not trying to cram soft tackle or do anything here. And like you can see, I've got my head there and the hook eye. My hook eye is not crowded. The head's fine. No big deal because I'm leaving this part clear. Easy enough. Hey, Tyler. I've learned the hard way, and then I learned the hard way again and again and again and again. All right, so we're going to try one of these quail feathers because I have, number one, you can still buy these. These are pretty easy to get a hold of because Moonlit Fly Fishing has them. And what I did is I took this particular one is one that I've got from Craig Matthews. He actually shot it. And if you remember a while ago, I was like, Craig's got a few of these. If you want one, here's the address. Give him a call. He'll sell you one. Well, this is exactly what it is. So one thing I like to do on soft tackles is use the same material for the tail that I do the soft tackle. So that's exactly what I've done. I've got this, I'm going to reuse this one, but I've got this feather here that I plucked off of towards the bottom of the fly or the feather, the skin. And I'm going to pull off kind of because it's small, kind of a healthy little clump here. See how my tips are lined up perfectly? Pinch, pull away. Yeah, there's a little bit of stuff in there. Pull that out. So now we got our butt ends nice and lined up. Check it out. Looks good. Set it right where I want it. And that looks about right. I'll put a couple wraps in here, do a little pinch wrap. Hey, Tyler, if there's something that you want to see, I don't know if you're on the whole time, let me know and I'll show you. Show it to you. So that's about right for my tail length. And we'll go down this hook shank just a pinch like that. And I'm going to come up with open spiral wraps because I'm not trying to build much bulk yet. I want to bury my bulk. But I'm going to tie in this little piece of wire and I want to bury it with some thread wraps. So if you notice when I cut that off, you see what I use for my measuring here? I just put my scissors here and push them over on the buried shank until it stopped on the thread and then cut. So I'm leaving my shank cleared. So now I'm going to get a piece of this thin Semperfli 0.1 millimeter tying wire that got a black bottom, black this, black everything. I cannot see black thread or black wire. So find the end, pull it out, Put it back in our. Does anyone have any problem storing thread or thread or wire really? Having it come off the spools. If you do, I'll show you a little trick. All right, so I'm going to take my. Well, this might be one time that black background's not good. Cross it like this. Do a wrap. Bring it down. Pull. Put a couple wraps in here. Pull until it's gone. That looks good. All I'm doing is getting this. There we go. So now I've got the wire wrapped in. I'm going to uncord my thread. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Here we go. Now I'm going to go up with touching wraps just because I want to make sure I've got nice color. Make sure everything's covered up. And I don't need a whole lot of taper, but I'm going to put just a little bit in here. Back and forth. Making sure that thread stays smooth. Just like that. So you see we've got a little, you see that wire in there now, but you've got a little bit of a taper, not much. We don't need much. Remember, this is a small fly. And I like using my, let me pull this off of here. I like using a bobbin cradle for this step because I can just pull my thread up, bring it down like this. And now I can wrap and I can make sure that I'm getting my wraps pretty darn close to perfect and quick. Like that. So my wraps look good. Didn't take any time. Bring it around. Done. What do you say, Matt? Turn your volume. Anyone else's video restart? Well, I'm watching it live with you guys. That's how I'm seeing the comments. Mine, there was a commercial that popped up. Other than that, mine is not restarted. All right, so we got that on there. Good so far. Pretty simple. All I've done is a thread, little wire, and a tail. So now I'm going to pull out some of this peacock.
Chasing Feathers is on here.
Oh, Mark.
There it is.
You must have gotten power. Found a spot in the cat. Well, there you go. If you can only be on for a second, there is your there's your moment of fame. Thanks, Mark, for sending in your picture.
Yes, thank you.
That was really cool. All right, so I am just going to put a little bit of dubbing here. And yeah, this is for colors. This is for a little bit of sparkle. This is for a little bit. It's mainly to keep this, just to add to our taper and to give something that's going to spread out our next materials. So we want to really have like a bit of a stopper right here. So build this up. So see how it looks. That looks good. That's pretty much how we want it. Maybe pull out our little brush here. Just give it a little hair styling. I don't want these too long, so I'll trim those off. That was pretty good. See how it looks? A couple little scruffies. All right, so now we're going to pull out our little bit of additional fiber here, and I talked about the like what kind to use, just whatever gets you excited. Whatever. This was just a scrap that I had laying here. I wanted 15 fibers, Steve. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get about 5 more. Because the first 2 or 3 that I tied, I felt like were a little bit too dense, too much. Just a little bit. So I thinned them out. I liked them a little better. So that's how many we're going to get, is that many right there. That might be a little more than 15. But if it's too much, then I'll try to take one out next time. Take it like this, cross it over just like kind of like we did the wire, do a pinch wrap. I'll do a couple wraps that way. Bring it forward. Now we'll bring it back again. I'm going to cut this off. It's still a little bit long. We switch it over to the vise, please. I'm just going to stroke everything back with my fingers like this. Try to get a good wrap, bring it all back. And I want to keep everything, keep the wings split. See how it's going to look, how it's split. Little uncalified. Well, you're usually the one on here that said, that's only 15 fibers. I'm like, yeah, well. So now we've got 30 fibers roughly on top. See how there's not much on the bottom. It's all going to be on top. When I go to cut it, I'm going to pull them all up, put my scissors under here, bring it down to the hook bend, and cut. So now we've got a nice little, and if they go together on top a little bit like that, that's okay. But I don't want them all the way around. I just want them like that. Okay. So now for our, this is a gamble quail here. And what I want to do is I want to kind of bend this out. I want to find what I think is going to be the right size. And for me, the right size is going to be going to the hook bend. If it goes past the tail, it's too big, in my opinion. If it doesn't go past the body, it'll still work, but it might be a touch on the small side. The reality is, when you go to fish these, if the soft tackle goes past the tail, it probably will work just fine. Not a big deal. Ed said, "Bless you, honey."
Oh, thank you.
Did see that comment.
Appreciate it.
So I'm going to strip off towards the base of them. I like tying them in by the tip. So you see, I've got the base strip. And this is a teeny feather. Faux show. To work with them, I'm going to grab some tweezers. Pinch it like where you get hackle pliers. Pinch it like that. Pull it back like that. So you can see I've got just the tip. I'm holding my tweezers. Let's get it just right. So now I've got this little piece right here. I have to run. I've got to work early tomorrow. All right. See you, Josh. Thank you so much. We will see you in a few weeks because we're not going to be live for the next couple of weeks. So we've got this is just one way to do it. If I want to, I can cut this and tie it. But for a little bit more of a secure tie-in, I like to put this at an angle here. Do my one wrap, two wrap. So now I've got it tied in. See how it's like that? And take my fingers and pull this back. Now work my thread back forward. Get that out there. And if I want to, I could probably just pull this and pull it out, but I'm going to cut it out because the tip is a little bit harder. Might get a little extra cut off. That's fine. The tip is a little bit harder to pull out when you're right there at the very base of it because there's not much of a stem. I'll break out the actual stem itself here in a minute. Oh, better too long than too short. That's what she said. So we're going to pull this out, grab it with our hackle pliers, kind of stroke the fibers back like this. And if they're not perfectly stroked back, that's okay as well. Bring this around. Use my finger to kind of keep them directionalized. And I'm going to put one, maybe two wraps on. This should be fine for the wrap and a half or so. Now we'll bring our thread up, down. That's one wrap. It's okay. The fibers are going that way. No problem. Hold tight. And I'm going to take my fingers again, pull everything back. Start my thread right by the hook eye and work it backwards. See how my head's starting to show up a little bit? I get it back to the back where I kind of want it, but as far as I want it to go. And I'm going to pull this until I find my, sorry, that's a teeny tiny stem in there. Let's do it like this. I'm going to grab the stem again with my hackle pliers like that. I'm going to hold my thread tight and then just pop it off. So you see I've got my stem right there. With flies, this just like I did when I trimmed out the tip, I got some of the wing, I cut it. If I get in there and try to cut it off, to get it cut really close. Bill, what's up? I'm sorry you had to mow the yard. What's the temperature out there? I've mowed half a dozen times already. Although we just got a big cold front that came in. When can you mow mine? All right, so now we'll do a quick little whip finish, and this little guy will be done. Get it back there. How's that look? Yeah, it looks pretty good. So as you can see, the length of my soft hackle, it's going roughly to the hook bend. It's not covering up my tail. Got a little sparkle for the wing there. It's thin enough so I can still see the body. Because when this gets wet, it should all kind of go like this. And I don't want there to just be like a big lump. I want some of that color and the ribbing to show through. So, and when just another little trick here. As you all know, I like using Sally Hansen. So let's just throw some on the head. Just put this is a little bit thickened up just from me doing this. Just go around like that, get the head covered nicely. Not worried about getting in the eye. I grab an old piece of wire, kind of thicker wire, and run it through there. Now we've got our fly all done, ready to go. You can switch up colors. This will be good in the bigger sizes for a sulfur, just behind sulfur dries. This would be good for lots of different patterns. With it being this small, I didn't want to have a thicker body and use like rabbit or something, but that would be totally fine. The hackle from laying flat against the body. I think you're absolutely correct. These should look like wings and stuff, and just kind of basically like the wings of the fly, the bug as it's trying to emerge out of the water, and the soft hackle is going to lay kind of on top of it. It's going to help it give it additional bulk. It's going to give those like air bubbles and stuff. It's going to capture the air bubbles whenever you cast and it lays in there. It's not going to sink deep. And I think that's kind of what made it work last time. Beneath the hatch. Beneath the hatch. I don't know, beneath that, maybe. So we'll do one more little one. And while I'm getting this going, if you got a request for one of the skins that I showed earlier, we'll do this one a little bit different, but we'll definitely use a different type of feather if you'll have a request. Yeah, on the swing, Dan, it'd probably fine. I would probably, and I might be totally absolutely wrong, but I'd probably tie them a little bit bigger. But this one, and this might not work at all for you guys. It did work for me. It was fished and worked really well. You absolutely could. Which hen, Tyler? Which one? You want the whiting, like red label hen, so you see a thicker or a more robust feather? Do you want to see? We've seen a bunch of Hungarian parts. The starling is an interesting one. That's a good one. The Brahma hens is kind of standard. Whiting red. Okay. So another thing as far as weighting the fly, now this is a different fly, but this is the bantam hen. That is what this is. I think Tyler was asking for the red label. We'll do this one next. But the bantam hen looks very similar. And that was the ones we posted on Instagram today. One of them was the bantam hen, this one, and one of them was the Gamble quail. This one right here, let's switch over the hook vise to the vise. I believe this is the bantam hen. You're asking about weighting them. So shoot. This is a size 18 jig. And that's the bantam right there. That a lot of times I'll use CDC for the soft hackle, but hey, if you want to get beads, we know where to get them. Where do you get beads from, honey?
You can get it from Stalker.
20% off plus an additional 10% off with this code right here, maybe.
That's right. If you will check the top of the chat here, I have pinned all the information that you need to go to Stalker for their 20% off beads and eyes all through April, and a very special promo code to get 10% off on top of that for beads and eyes.
You are the best. So let's switch over to the side here. So I've got a bunch of different colors, but since this is one I've got, what we're going to do is cheat a little bit. So you can get like a million tails out of one of these feathers. So I'm gonna look kind of at the bottom. Oh, what the heck? I don't cheat that much. I'll try not to pull one whole feather off. Waste a whole feather for a fly. We'll pull this down. Pull off some of this stuff here. So we've got our feather here. So let's switch back over to the hook vise itself. Let's get some of that good stuff there. I don't think any of that color is going to make it. So let's get it however much we want. Pull it to the side, get our tips lined up like that. Grab it by the tip, pull it away. So now we've got our tail. It's measured out, and I don't know, that's more than 3 fibers. Measure it out to about there. Your pinch wrap. And I'm holding with my left hand with this finger right here. Let's zoom in for Instagram. So sorry, Instagram guys. Been neglecting you guys as always. Sorry. So I'm holding the tails with this finger right here. I'm holding the hook and scooching the tails towards myself. So when I put that wrap in, even though I'm not pushing super hard, I'm what's the word? Yeah, the feather's sticking on the top of the hook shank. So now we've got that like that. So kind of open spiral wraps back up. Now pull this up. See, I use that thread to stop my scissors. Cut. Done. Alrighty. And if you're over on Instagram, there's a whopping, well, no, I think we're good over there for now. So I'm getting my silver wire. It's the fanciest silver wire I've ever seen. Cross it, do one wrap, bring it down, pull it this way, do a couple more wraps just for the heck of it. I've got this locked in. I'm going to go ahead and start flattening out my thread. And we're going to use a different material for the thorax just to change it up a bit. See how that thread's nice and flat? That's what we're looking for. Am I missing a comment, honey?
No, not really.
Everyone's,
Did you weight the fly?
Everyone's, yeah, I got that one. It would be, I mean, you could throw a bead on here. It would be difficult to put lead wraps on one this small. You could, but I wanted a fly that I could drift behind a pretty delicate dry fly. And if I put much weight on here, it really wouldn't work. I didn't want to get down too much. So same thing, got a bit of a taper. If you want to put more in there, that's fine. We'll just, I will throw a touch more. Like this. Not all the way down, but close. We're going to do the same trick we did before. Bring our bottom cradle over, set it in here, and now we'll wrap it. Like that. Get out of the way, make sure my wire is still tight. Wrap back over itself, don't wrap towards the eye. Pull that down. Now we're going to use a more natural material just for the fun of it. I've got some squirrel dubbing from Magpie. Ooh, I've got not a secret, but I feel like it was a secret. I have got a super secret Hackle guy that I've never bought anything from, that I've been trying to buy something from for the past little while. And it is a Rhode Island red. And if you know anything about Rhode Island reds, that is what you tie a red quill with. and they're really hard to come by unless you know the right person. They're really hard to come by. And I've been trying to get one for quite a while. And I went back and looked at my um, recent messages to the guy. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago was the last one that I sent. And the I said, "Hey, have you got any luck breeding these things?" And he said, "No, but check out this guy named Stephen Hankins with Magpie Materials." And I was like, "What?" So I sent Stephen a note. And he goes, "Yeah, I got some. So if anyone wants a red quill cape, sorry, a Rhode Island red, Stephen Hankins has them." So I think I paid $30 or $35 for it, and it should be here any day. I just want them to have just break the source film the way the hook and the wire will help break. Yep. If you put ice CDC double loop behind, yeah, absolutely. And that's why a lot of times I'll put partridge hackle in this as opposed to and I'll put that in a dubbing loop. I'll put lots of things in dubbing loop. This is really just trying to say we don't want to use the dubbing loop. We just want to use hackle the more traditional way. But yeah, putting CDC and dubbing loop, we've done that on show a little bit here and there. That's a very good way of doing it. And then you don't throw it the length, you just break it off and you're done. Might be a touch on the thick side. So I will get Velcro and thin it down a bit. That's another trick if you're this is just a fancy tool that I put about a 5-cent piece of Velcro. The hook side even is great to work with. Yep. I didn't, Greg, did you know he had Rhode Island Reds? I didn't. And I was like, holy cow, dude. So yeah, got some of those coming. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. Take our little material here. Do a couple wraps back. Pull this over, a couple wraps. Make sure it's locked in. Kind of be a little bit of that. See, I've got that little Y up there. Well, I didn't. Well, I'll have some soon. Cut that off. Bang. That's more like how I like it. It looks kind of like two separate wings. I think when it gets wet, it's going to kind of come more together and stay on top and just like that. And I think that's fine. I just really want to keep them somewhat split like spinner wings, but that forces it to stay on top. I want that bottom to stay open. All right, so we'll do so here is our red label hen. And these are pretty common. This is the color of this one is pale watery. Oh, no, this is just a variant. And this one, because I told you the feather's a little bit longer, I can actually measure them a little bit easier. Like I can look at that and say, well, switch over to the hook. You can see what I'm doing. We'll go ask for feathers. Yep. You can't really see that. There you go. See how that one's a little bit small? Look how long this one is comparatively. So I can get 2 flies of that, and that one's too small, and that one is probably. I'm trying to get it right here on the bird. So let's go for one just a little bit bigger or a little bit longer fibers. That's not it. And Tyler, I think you'll see what I mean when I wrap one of these. You'll be like, oh yeah, it's definitely a little bit longer or a little bit stiffer. Let's see. That might be too long, but we'll call that one good. All right, so we got our long feather. Remember that last feather we used was super short. This one maybe 3. Look at the side view, honey. 4B works good. That and the 4Bs are my go-to. So you can see this big old long feather. I could probably get 3 of these flies out of here because I just need 1, maybe 2 wraps out of it. The same as before. See how when I pull it down like that, see those feathers? See, it's almost like a dry fly. Like a rooster hackle. It's not quite as stiff, but it's a lot stiffer than some of these other other products, other birds. So I did the thing where I tied the tip in and pulled it back and cut it out. This time we're going to do it just a touch different. I'm going to take my tip and cut it. Bang, like that. You got to make that noise. Bang. It says beads or new boots. Beads or new boots? Well, dude, the beads are going to be cheap. Just that, just teeny tiny. So I got my little triangle here. I'm going to knock the edges off now. I'm sorry you can't really see that, but all I'm doing is knocking the edges off. So let's switch back over to the hook. So we'll show you what I've got. See that little diamond thing? So let's bring our thread back to reality. Hook that in. I've got one wrap. I want to pull that feather till that tip is not covering up the hook eye. Hooking back. Now we're going to make sure we put some tight wraps around that tip. Right, like that. That's good. Okay. Good so far. New boots. And get beads at Michael's or Joann's. It's hard to get tungsten beads at Michael's or Joann's. But the beads are cheap, even if you paid retail compared to boots. So let's see how one wrap looks here. Try and pull everything back. I don't stress it too much though. That's why I thought I'd put a couple wraps in. How's that looking? Yeah, it looks good. Now, and I don't want to put like a whole bunch of wraps on this thing. Like, remember, we put all this other stuff on there. What is the soft hackle supposed to represent? Well, it's not supposed to be like a cape that covers everything up. It's legs, it's wings, it's all sorts of things. Okay, so holding tight with my thread finger right here, hold my thread tight, bring this and just kind of wiggle it, and it should pop right out. Now I've got that one done. So flatten our thread, use the yarn, straight feather, and I wait with wire. Yep, and I've that's kind of a standard thing. I mean, it's no big deal. I just try and do something a little different. Don't worry about if you don't like the yarn wing, this is not a pattern, I don't think. You can say you saw it here first, although it's not. It's taken, oh, come on, guys. I said his name a second ago. Great guy. It was taking his March Brown, I believe, soft hackle and just swishing around a little bit, downsizing it. Matt Grobert. Taking Matt Grobert's pattern and just changing it around a little bit, downsizing it, changing the body up, splitting the wings versus having one piece of wing. But he's the one I got the inspiration from. So on that one, I kind of wish the tail was maybe a touch. No, I think that's good. I just think that having that sparse wing, so the stuff here, having it sparse and splitting it so it keeps it on top. So you actually have two little separate wings, although it's fine if they go together. But I think that just kind of added a little something to it because it just adds more sparkle. And every time you cast this thing, it's going to dry those wings out. And when it lands in the water, those wings are going to catch the little air bubbles and stuff. And I think that's all stuff that attracts fish. Looks like movement, looks like yumminess. And so teeny tiny, but guys, the important thing, you switch over to me if you'd like. The important thing to understand is I was so ticked because I prepared for the blue quills and I'm like, well, maybe they're not blue quills, maybe they're quill Gordons, or maybe they're too small for quill Gordons, but I don't know what. Dude, they're all mayflies. I knew that. And, they could all be 18s and they'll bite my 14s. They could all be 14s, they'll bite my 18s. They could all be dries and they'll bite this soft hackle. I'm not trying to say it doesn't matter, but if it was easy to figure out, then there'd be a very small book that says this is how you catch the fish. Do this every time. They're different every time, and just having fun, having some good variety with you. And what I like about these is no matter what kind of dry fly you have, especially in the smaller size, this can sit behind it. Now my drifts, it was in a pretty not fast movement. There was pocket water, and it wasn't like in the rapids part, but my drift was probably 15 seconds or 20 seconds. So not a real long drift at all. But this didn't get down near far enough to affect the point fly or the main dry fly I was using that was small. So just playing with colors, playing with sizes. Take this like rough pattern and make it fit your own waters to whatever bugs are out there. And we want to see the fish and the pictures. And Dan, that would be awesome. And if there's someone, a lot of you guys, I've seen a lot of flies out there. I haven't seen this one. So if this is one that you all have seen, let me know. Otherwise, we might have to name this or something if y'all start catching fish with it.
One more time, Jay Stalker.
Yeah, Jay Stalker. So tell us about the bead thing. You guys would love it.
Jay Stalker is having 20% off all of their beads and their eyes in the month of April. And you can get an additional 10% off on top of that by using our very special exclusive promo code, which is pinned to the top of the chat here. It's ProBeads0424. So if you need eyes, if you need beads this month, even if you don't and you just want to get some, head over to Jay Stalker and use that special code.
So that's an additional 10% off. So give you up to 30% off your tungsten slotted beads, your dumbbell eyes. I was showing you earlier. Here's a package that I ordered from them. So I got a bunch of medium-sized dumbbell eyes for leeches for Alaska. And Chris, you're absolutely incorrect. I've seen the pictures and the videos. You can catch fish just fine. So I got a bunch of brass eyes. Pet peeve of mine, with these dumbbell eyes, they're not much more expensive to get brass versus lead. I don't know. I always get black brass, but better for the environment. But guys, thank you so much. Now, another important thing, and hopefully Ken will see it when he rewatches the show. We will not be live next Wednesday night. We will not be live the following Wednesday night. And we probably won't be live the following Wednesday night. So I'll be either 2 or 3 Wednesdays in a row. We are not going to be live. Send pictures of the fish that you catch. Email them to us at demuthflyfishing@gmail.com. Tag us in the photos of anything that you catch. Tie up some of these soft tackles and email or tag us in the photos just like normal. And we'll share them when we get back. We might, and I went live for our members last week, I believe, sometime. And if you want to know when, if you're a member, which is you click that join button on the bottom of your screen, you need to be a, what are they called? Promoter or a supporter. You'll be able to see those videos, just me kind of impromptu going live. We might go live that way in England or in Norway, but that's just using my telephone. So it's not this fancy stuff, but it's kind of fun. Thank you, Al. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. What else am I forgetting, guys?
Not much. Just don't forget to go over to Jay Stalker. Check him out.
That's
20%
right.
off everything, beads and eyes.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. Guys, we will see you next or we'll see you when we see you. I look forward to seeing the pictures. Wonderful evening, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.